Are you aware of any company in Oklahoma that is currently doing this?
No, again, it would be a public relations nightmare for a company to use aborted human fetuses in their research and development. As you know, back in the 60s, 70s, when it started becoming more public that there were animal testing used and, makeup and random other things, then it was PR nightmares for those firms. And so, that would be a public relations nightmare for any company that would be engaged in this type of research. So when asked flatly, certain companies have said, well, that information is not on our website. They won't actually say we don't do it. They'll say things like, it's not available. We don't say that on our website. We don't, we strive to do things ethically is their response. So I'm not entirely sure if there are any. But the fact is that there is a potential that there are companies that are using aborted human babies in the research and development of basically enhancing flavor for artificial flavors. And if that is happening, because it is a possibility, and if it's happening, then I just don't think that it should even be an option for a company, particularly when there are plenty of other resources available. When there's plenty of other research types available, you don't have to use an aborted human fetus to do that. My problem with is we disrespect life first off by destroying it in the womb. And then secondly, we're going to take it a step further and say that we can trade an aborted child as a commodity and basically sell it to a company for research. If we think that that's viable, then we could take this logical conclusion would be that we would force every human being to be an organ donor. I am an organ donor, but I don't think we should force everybody to do that. And that's kind of what we're doing with these children when they're, before they're born, we're going to kill them, and then we're just going to say, well, we can do whatever we want to with your body. And I just don't think that's right. And so the bill seeks to remove that option from the marketplace. You may think it's ethical to kill a child in the womb, but the question now before us is it ethical to then use that aborted child for research and development to enhance flavors in food? I think if more people knew that that this was a possibility first off, or if they knew that this was actually going on, then people would be appalled at the products that they're digesting.
By authoring this law, you're not saying it is taking place right now in Oklahoma. You're saying that you read an article and it's possible. It could be happening across the United States, and you don't want Oklahoma. You don't want those businesses to profit from Oklahomans
right.
that are doing
this. What I'm saying is that it is very difficult to know what a company does in terms of its research and development, because that information is not readily available, nor are they under any obligation to give that up. Now, that wasn't just an article I read. I actually did quite a bit of research into the types of research that go into developing artificial flavors. That's where it started at. And, using the aborted kidney cells is one method that is employed by several research firms. And so, my point is that if it's an elective abortion, a child has died as a result of this, I don't think it's moral or ethical to use that aborted child to research and development. And so that's what I'm saying is that I don't know if it's happening in Oklahoma, and maybe it may not be. What I'm saying is that if it does happen, then we're not going to allow you to manufacture here.
What's been the response since this piece of legislation was filed?
Well, interestingly enough, most of it's come back to, I guess, a thought that I'm trying to have some kind of backdoor loophole, so to speak, to outlaw stem cell research. And I don't think the bill is near enough to do that, because it's very specific in terms of aborted human fetuses. Stem cells are actually derived from the early stages of embryonic development. This doesn't have anything to do with that. But, people are labeling it as a backdoor attempt to outlaw stem cell research. And quite honestly, if I wanted to do that, which I do, I plan on voting for that bill this year, but I would just author a bill that says no stem cell research in Oklahoma. This is a very specific bill, and oddly enough, when I go and read the comments on Facebook or when I talk to my friends about it, they're appalled and disgusted at the first that there's a potential that human babies are being used in the development of of artificial flavors. I mean, it's disgusting to think about. I mean, whether or not they actually find themselves into the finished product is kind of a side issue. Obviously, that's pretty disgusting in and of itself. But even the fact that they're being used in developing these artificial flavors, it disturbs people. And so the response has been very positive for me. Obviously, there are a lot of people that think that I'm trying to outlaw stem cell research, and they're very negative. They don't like it at all. There are some people that think it's just a kooky bill, but the fact is it's a very important bill. And I think it kind of hits the heart of whether or not we value life as a society if we're going to use aborted children as research commodities.
I assumed when I heard the term artificial flavors and that through your research, are you talking about for human consumption?
Yes. Yeah, we're talking about soft drinks, potato chips. I mean, when you look on the back of any packaging, it says artificial flavors. There is some kind of chemical process used to develop those flavors. And, the way that they do that is they develop taste receptors that create a chemical reaction when they induce those artificial flavors. This reaction tells them what that flavor tastes like without actually having to taste it, so to speak. So this reaction will show them what it is, and what they do is they use cells in developed fetuses, which would be past the embryonic stage into the developmental stage. They actually extract these cells from developed kidneys, so to speak, would be the main one. And they use these as these taste receptors in order to determine what these artificial flavors do. Now, there's plenty of other ways to do that. They can clone these cells, or they can use animal cells, or there are other ways to do it chemically without actually having to use an aborted child. But the fear is that right now that they are using aborted children, and that they are a commodity. They would otherwise be thrown away. And so if they can purchase those or use them in some way, then they will. And a company basically seeking to make a profit without any kind of moral, ethical obligations will do just that. They'll seek a profit. If they can use an aborted human fetus profitably, they will. Now, companies that seek to do business ethically won't do that. But this is a statement to those companies that in Oklahoma, if you do things unethically like that, then we're just not going to allow you to manufacture here.